Guess I gotta make a Toji video. Ladies and gentlemen, the wait is finally over. After months of you guys constantly asking for this what if, I decided, you know what, I guess I'll make the video. And not gonna lie, I enjoyed it way more than I ever imagined I would. So much so that I even recorded an alternate version of this exact what if but for Izuku. And I did it alongside one of my best friends, That One Weeb, which should be coming out on his channel by this Friday. So if you guys enjoyed this video and you guys want to see even more of me covering Toji's powers in a what if, then go check out his channel and leave a like. Let that boy know that I sent you. But with all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, grab your popcorn, grab your snacks, and like the video. Because if this video gets enough likes, I promise to drop the full 2-hour version in 24 hours. So without any further ado, enjoy. We pick up our story on the day of the Academy test, right before the entire Mizuki situation would go down, and Iruka would test everybody for their shadow clone abilities. Iruka, noticing that everybody else had gone but Naruto, would finally say, "Up next, Naruto Uzumaki. Come down here, Naruto." He would look up only to see that Naruto was sleeping once again, and so he would yell out, "Naruto! Naruto, wake up, Naruto!" As eventually, Naruto would wake up, looking at his classroom, who was all laughing at him with the exception of a couple of people, but Naruto had gotten so used to this that he didn't even care. And so, Naruto would just look up with an expressionless look in his eyes. He would look towards the front of the classroom, just thinking to himself that he can't believe that they woke him up for this. They know he's not gonna pass anyways. Are they just here to mock him? Naruto would clench his fist tightly before then letting it go, making his way up to the classroom and finally trying to perform the shadow clone, once again failing, as nothing would happen. Unlike in the original, Naruto at the bare minimum knew he had chakra, but this Naruto, he was almost positive that he couldn't control it, or he entirely didn't have any, and everybody had made fun of him for this. So now, this timeline of Naruto was not only a failure in terms of like not being able to control his chakra, but this one literally had no chakra, and everybody would ridicule him for this every single chance that they could get, making fun of how weak he was, making fun of the fact that he has no chakra control. And Naruto would pretty much get the Rock Lee treatment, but way worse, considering the fact that he was the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and everybody had already hated him and had practically no expectations for him in this life. So Naruto in this timeline is a lot colder and more emotionless than the one that we get in the original story, just kind of accepting the fact that he'll never be anybody. He won't be a shinobi, and he won't graduate this class, because if what he needs to do in order to graduate is to create a shadow clone and use some sort of ninjutsu, well then, there was really going to be no hope for him after all. So Naruto had sort of given up on becoming a shinobi, but he still attended the class because it had become sort of a routine for him. So, right after he would fail, everybody would just laugh at him once more, as he would go back towards the class, sitting down, clenching his fist one more, thinking, it's always been like this. As he could just hear the laughs going through his head, and he can just see the way that everybody would stare at him. Sometimes, it wouldn't even be fear or hate, but pity, and Naruto hated that most of all, with most people looking down on him and treating him like the scum of the earth. Naruto would have a way harder life than the one that we originally get, and so, nobody would respect him, constantly calling him a freak, useless, weakling, and at some point, Naruto honestly started believing it. So Naruto would just sigh, thinking, they're right anyways. As from here, he would go back to sleep thinking to himself that, at least in his dreams, things would change for him. And so, right after everything would end, Naruto would finally make his way towards his house, but in doing so, he would actually be approached by one of his senseis, Mizuki, who would go on to inform Naruto that there's actually one more way that he could graduate the class, one way that is probably perfect for him, seeing as he can't actually formulate ninjutsu. And Naruto, hearing this, would sort of pique his interest, as he would turn towards Mizuki asking what it is, with Mizuki telling him that all he has to do is steal the scroll of sealing and learn one jutsu within it, with those jutsus being even easier than the ones that Naruto's currently trying to learn. And plus, even if he doesn't manage to learn a jutsu, the fact that he could steal it will be mighty impressive, so maybe they could find some workaround. Maybe this way Naruto can become a ninja. So Naruto, hearing this, would finally have some hope in his eyes, as he would decide to do exactly that, stealing the scroll of sealing and arriving to the forest, as he would try over and over and over and over to learn the jutsu inside of it, but nothing, not a single jutsu Naruto was able to master, learn, or even feel like any chakra was moving within him, because that was Naruto's heavenly restriction. Naruto was born with such a gifted body, senses, and strength, but the only problem was that Naruto couldn't access it because he had completely convinced himself that he really was weak. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but have you guys ever been so convinced that you're unable to do something that you genuinely can't? And it's only when you break through that barrier of telling yourself, I can't, that you're finally able to do it and see your full potential? That's probably something that you guys will experience at some point or another, either at the gym or in everyday mundane life. But besides that, what Naruto would pretty much end up doing is doing exactly that, and after failing for hours and hours and hours on end, Iruka would finally arrive to the forest, kind of understanding that Naruto would be there, as once he would end up arriving, he would turn towards Naruto and be like, Naruto, there you are, with Naruto just looking at him and tossing the scroll at him on the ground saying, don't even say it, Iruka. I know I'm a failure. I couldn't learn a single jutsu, and what does it matter if I could steal it? I still couldn't perform a single thing. I guess everyone was right about me. I really am weak. And so Iruka, hearing this, would be stunned, with Naruto just looking down and having just this look of like emptiness within himself. With Iruka looking at Naruto and being like, Naruto, are you? But before he could even finish that thought, a gigantic wind shuriken would come flying towards the direction of Iruka, as this shuriken would pierce him in an extremely vital organ, with Iruka falling down to both knees and Naruto looking stunned, being like, Iruka-sensei, are you okay? But Iruka would fall down to the ground, getting a glimpse of who actually threw it, being Mizuki-sensei, as he would say, Naruto, run. But right as he says that, his eyes would go blank, and Naruto, seeing this, would begin shaking his sensei, saying, Iruka-sensei, Iruka, say something. Please tell me you're not dead. Mizuki, why would you do that? But as he would say that, Mizuki would look at him and have a huge grin on his face, as from here, Mizuki would burst out into laughter, telling Naruto the truth, that there was no extra test. Naruto just did his dirty work, and now he was gonna kill him next, as he would go on to laugh even harder, saying that nobody will care. In fact, he'll probably be recognized as the hero of the village, finally ridding the world of such a useless piece of garbage. Naruto, hearing this, would just look down to the ground, as in that moment, Naruto just had flashbacks of every single time somebody said that to him, as he would clench his fist in anger before then looking towards Mizuki, who he knows he can't beat. But then he would turn towards the body of Iruka, seeing his lifeless body and just thinking to himself that he doesn't want to die. And in a moment of despair, Naruto would break, as everything that had been holding him back up to that very moment had finally shattered. It was like every single chain that was holding back the monster within had finally broken, and Naruto truly stopped caring. Before, it was just a facade to hide all the pain that he was feeling, to keep everyone from seeing how truly broken and lonely he felt, how weak and insignificant he was. But that was over with, and Naruto really stopped caring about everything that anyone had said to him up to that moment. Now Naruto just knew one thing: he either had to kill Mizuki or get killed himself. And so Naruto would clench his fist, looking towards the direction of Mizuki, with his whole demeanor and expression changing. It's almost as if the atmosphere got thicker, and before Mizuki could even blink, Naruto was right in front of him, as Naruto would land a blow in Mizuki's face, sending him flying across the forest, with Naruto rushing at him, with each step that he's taking off the ground breaking it a little bit, shattering the ground at how unbelievably fast he is moving and how hard he is pressing off of it. Obviously not like crazy, but just like leaving like a little dent where his foot was, right? As Naruto lunges on top of Mizuki, who's already practically unconscious, mind you, punching him in the face over and over and over again, just pounding him with an emotionless look on his face, as Naruto doesn't stop until Mizuki's face is unrecognizable and he has beaten him to a bloody pulp. Eventually though, Naruto would pick up his fist seeing that it was fully covered in blood and would realize that he has to stop eventually since his knuckles slightly started to hurt at this point. So what Naruto would do is grab Mizuki by the leg and start dragging him alongside the scroll all the way to where Iruka's body was. And then Naruto, grabbing the scroll, would simply run as fast as he possibly could to Hiruzen's office, seemingly making it look like he used body flicker. As Hiruzen seeing Naruto there, Naruto would drop the scroll at Hiruzen's feet saying that he stopped Mizuki, before then just putting his hands up to say that he's willing to just be arrested now. And Hiruzen would look at him in confusion, asking what in the world he's talking about. Naruto would then go on to explain that Mizuki was just planning on taking the scroll, and that Mizuki had also killed Iruka with the wind shuriken. As from here, Hiruzen's face expression would be shocked, seeing that Naruto's hands were completely covered in blood. He would ask Naruto what happened, and Naruto would say that he killed him, going on to explain that Mizuki had threatened his life right after killing Iruka, and that there was no way he was gonna let that happen, so he did what he had to do. He survived. It was kill or be killed. And Hiruzen would be stunned at the fact that this 12-year-old boy was capable of killing somebody. Is it 12 or 13? I think it's 13. But anyways, Naruto, after hearing that, he would kind of be impressed by Naruto's ability to take out a Chunin. And so he would go on to look at Naruto, telling him that he understands that in his position, he would have done the same thing, that he's in no problems at all. But with this, Naruto just showed that he might have the ability to actually become a genin, and so he would go on to pretty much start explaining to Naruto that there's one more thing he wants to do to test that theory, telling Naruto to meet him somewhere tomorrow at dawn, as Naruto would nod his head and just walk out, with Hiruzen looking at the look inside of Naruto's eyes and wondering what in the world went down. As from here, the next day would finally come around and Naruto would arrive at an Anbu training camp where a bunch of Anbu ninjas would be facing off against each other, with Naruto just watching them for about an hour, with Hiruzen looking at him, but Naruto would feel like the world around him was changing. He could hear things better, he could see things better, smell things better, taste things better. It was like all of his senses were heightened from the moment that something snapped within him with that fight against Mizuki. And Naruto couldn't understand it, but he liked it. It was almost as if he was capable of copying their abilities just by seeing them, and was thinking of different deadly combinations that he could possibly use if he was ever put in an opportunity where he had to use them. As eventually, Hiruzen would go on to look at Naruto, seeing that his eyes just looked expressionless, and he would go on to try to intimidate Naruto by telling him that for his first test, or well, only test really, he was gonna be having to face a member of the Anbu. And Naruto would just look at Hiruzen, not caring at all, as he would tell him, alright. And so Naruto would make his way towards the direction of the training ground, standing face to face with an Anbu member who would smile, looking at Naruto, telling him that he won't go all out on him. And Naruto would not care at all, as Hiruzen eventually would say, "Begin!" But the second that this would happen, Naruto, instead of putting both of his hands up to signal like a fighting stance, Naruto just quickly rushes at the direction of this Anbu member who would quickly be on guard. But Naruto would slide under his legs, as he would be doing that, Naruto would grab a kunai from his pouch, slashing at the Anbu member's tendon in one leg as he would fall down onto one knee. And right as that would be happening, Naruto would go to stab this Anbu member in the neck. But before he could finally land the blow, Hiruzen would go on to say, "That's enough, Naruto," with Naruto looking at the direction of Hiruzen, and this look would be in his eyes that would just scare Hiruzen. It would be something very similar to the look that Kakashi used to have back when he was in his Anbu days. As Hiruzen would be worried, thinking to himself that he knows that look all too well. But if there's one person who can help Naruto, that's probably going to be Kakashi. And so Naruto would be told by Hiruzen that one thing is clear. He's definitely powerful enough to become a Chunin, not a Chunin, but a Genin. And so Naruto would be given a ninja headband as he would make his way towards the ninja academy, where once there he would end up arriving to see Sasuke and Sakura sitting there. Naruto thinking to himself that that must be his team. And so he would make his way towards the back of the classroom as he would sit down, and Sakura would say, I can't believe that you're our other teammate. Who in the world thought that it was a good idea to let somebody pass who can't even formulate ninjutsu and has less than subpar taijutsu? You're just gonna hold us back, Naruto. Right, Sasuke? She would say as she would turn to him, but Sasuke would just look at Naruto and say, just don't get in my way, loser. As from here, Naruto would just stay silent, looking down, not even caring about what they said. I mean, after all, they are his teammates. If not, Naruto wouldn't be too opposed to the idea of slamming Sasuke into the desk and shattering a couple of his bones, but for now, he'll just stay quiet, looking towards the front of the classroom before then just laying his head down. Eventually, 2 hours would pass as finally, Kakashi would end up arriving to the classroom. Once this would happen, we would eventually get the introductions to the with the team, and eventually Sakura would go on to say her introduction. Sasuke's would remain the same until Naruto would finally go. This time he wouldn't say that he wants to become the Hokage. Naruto would simply say that he wants to know what it means to be strong. And so Kakashi would look at Naruto, just thinking to himself that that's actually not a half bad of a goal. And so he would tell the team to meet him at the training grounds tomorrow for the bell test, with Naruto just nodding his head and quickly rushing out of there, making it look like he used a body flicker, with the only person realizing that that was just Naruto's speed being Kakashi. And so the next day would finally come around and the bell test stuff would be all perfectly set up, right? Everything that I've covered up to this point is just kind of backstory on Naruto to help you guys understand why Naruto is going to be so different in this timeline. Oh, and by the way, one more thing that I do have to mention is that tonight I'm actually going to be recording the entirety of this series, which means I'm going to be having a full entire movie ready to drop at any given moment. So if you guys go on to hit an insane like goal, which like I don't even know, I'm not going to set nothing, but if you guys just like this video up like crazy and I see that this video does like really well, I promise that I'll drop the movie within like 24 hours or something like that, and you guys will just be able to, instead of getting a bunch of parks throughout the next like week or week and a half, or probably most likely 2 weeks, you guys could just get the full story out now. So that's up to you guys to decide, but also make sure you guys drop down a comment of who your favorite Jujutsu Kaisen character is down below. And with no further ado, let's get into the actual bell test. Okay, so the bell test, what do I really think is going to be happening here? Here, I really just sort of want to focus more on displaying Naruto's abilities and showing that Naruto is not the same person that Sakura and Sasuke remember. Because the second that Kakashi would go on to explain the rules of the bell test after arriving after like 3 hours, Kakashi would go on to tell them that they have to use any means necessary, because if not, they're not going to be getting these bells. The second that Kakashi starts counting down from 3, 2, Naruto just doesn't even wait, blitzing right after Kakashi and sending a punch that would basically be blocked by Kakashi's forearm. However, it would have tanked most of the damage, and so Kakashi's arm would practically be fractured at the bone, with Kakashi being sent flying back and Kakashi realizing that this kid is a mini monster. Sasuke and Sakura would be in the bushes watching as this would play out, and Sasuke would be thinking to himself that Naruto's insane rushing a Jonin like that there's no way he's gonna be able to hurt him or anything. But Naruto would go in landing kick after kick after kick, not actually being as much of like a punch fighter, but more of like a weird like freestyle spinning like kick taekwondo fighter, I guess you could say, throwing kick after kick after kick, and Kakashi would be dodging them, eventually creating a bunch of shadow clones, 5 to be exact, which would actually all rush at Naruto to try to stop him and like kind of humble Naruto. But Naruto, seeing this, would analyze everything as quickly as possible, realizing that there has to be a weakness to these clones. Like there's something that is going to be changing these from the actual Kakashi. He can't look at them as if they have the same amount of strength. And so Naruto quickly whips out 2 kunais on both arms, crossing his arms. As he would throw them at the direction of 2 of Kakashi's clones, they would get out of the way, and Naruto would have done that to test their speed. Naruto would pace himself as much as he possibly could, just gauging how strong each one was, and he would realize that these clones must be like weaker versions of Kakashi, having a percentage of his strength, speed, power, and stuff like that. So Naruto quickly rushes at one, jumping off of him. As lunging up towards the air, Naruto grabs two more kunais as he would slam down onto one Kakashi, stabbing both kunais into the eyes, popping him, as a different Kakashi would come flying in trying to use a jutsu on him, but Naruto would grab him by the arm, spinning off of him, snapping it, as from here he would have a huge grin on his face, and Sasuke would be like, what the heck? There's no way that this is Naruto. But suddenly Naruto would kick him back as one Kakashi clone would grab him, but Naruto would just like shoot his head backwards, breaking the nose of that Kakashi as he elbows him in the head, and then proceeds to straight up grab him by his area and crush it with his hands, as the real Kakashi who would be watching this would be like, oh my, and Naruto would just proceed to absolutely decimate these clones, just being like, where are you? Looking around as he would close his eyes, finally realizing that his eyes aren't going to tell him where he is, so he's going to have to rely on his other senses. And so Naruto would do exactly that, as he would finally go on to locate the real Kakashi and blitz there as fast as he possibly could, with Kakashi being absolutely stunned at this, and Naruto coming in with the kunai ready to straight up just stab him and kill him, with Kakashi eventually unveiling a Sharingan and holding his kunai out, with Naruto's strength being far superior to Kakashi's, because the way that I want to break it down is Naruto's gonna have like Sage Mode levels of strength. Like, do you guys remember the Naruto that was like crazy powerful with just like his fists? That's as strong as Naruto is as a kid, as a literal 13-year-old. And even with his unrefined taijutsu methods, it would be super efficient just due to the fact of how deadly Naruto's fighting. Naruto doesn't know how to throw a proper punch or kick or stuff like that yet, but he's just delivering blows to these areas that would deal so much damage, and every single attack that he's trying to land would be one that would be deadly to any normal person. Something that he's literally trying to end Kakashi's life with each blow that he's throwing. And if he was to land them, dude, Kakashi would straight up probably die. But fortunately for Kakashi, his Sharingan is helping him perceive all of this, and he would mostly be able to dodge most of the attacks. But Kakashi, realizing that this kid is like a freaking monster, he would have to take him fully seriously. And you would just see Kakashi face off against Naruto, who in this moment with this berserk animalistic fighting style would actually be pushing Kakashi to try his absolute hardest, with him just being stunned at the fact that Naruto was even capable of all this, and Sasuke not even being able to track their movements as well as you would think. Naruto goes into land blow after blow after blow, and Kakashi's matching him as best as he can, as eventually Kakashi starts to get tired, and he would end up whipping out a jutsu that he didn't think he was going to be having to whip out against a literal genin, using a fire style point blank range, but Naruto would straight up not care, tanking it, jumping in the fire, coming out like a little bit smoked up, as a huge grin would be on his face, and he would drop a kick on Kakashi, which would actually hit Kakashi in the head and send him crashing down to the ground, with Kakashi turning into a log and the real Kakashi appearing behind Naruto. But with Naruto not being able to have the ability to use another clone himself or stuff like that, Naruto catches Kakashi's arm mid-air, as he would then grab onto Kakashi, and they would both just be standing there on the ground, with Naruto using as much strength as he can to grip onto Kakashi's arms, not letting him do a thing, and Kakashi's just eyes being wide and realizing that he literally can't formulate a single jutsu, he can't do a thing. And Naruto would just smirk, with Kakashi thinking to himself that he's probably just gonna have to kick him. And so Naruto would try this, but Naruto would like tank the kick by using one of his knees to bend it at a weird angle, as eventually Naruto reaches in for one of the bells, yanking it off of him, as Kakashi would have actually ended up punching Naruto at the same time, like leaving a big bruise on his face, but Naruto grabbing onto the bells would be sent flying back with a huge grin on his face, Kakashi realizing that this kid did it. In fact, he managed to make him go all out, and Naruto would get back up, wiping the blood off his face as he would say, "One down, one more to go," rushing back in towards Kakashi, who's like, "Wait, Naruto, Naruto, you already got a bell. Like being worried because at this point, like Naruto is straight up just like on some devious timing, dude. Like Naruto's pushing Kakashi to the very edge and he's just stunned with with Kakashi realizing one thing: the longer that he fights Naruto, the more Naruto is learning about him and using all the weaknesses that he's displaying against him. So Kakashi finally would create some space, telling Naruto that he needs to stop now or he's gonna fail. And Naruto finally like drops both of his arms down as he would look towards Kakashi and say that it was just getting fun, before then just sitting down on the ground and holding his head up with his arm, saying that he'll wait for the rest of them to see if they can maybe get a bell. But since he could barely do it, he doubts that they could. And so Sasuke would actually come in as he would say, "Wanna bet, Naruto?" And he would come flying in, but Kakashi, using the Sharingan, would quickly grab Sasuke and put him in an arm bar, with Sasuke realizing that Naruto just proceeded to go toe to toe with their sensei, and it actually looked like their sensei was going all out, and he got snubbed like it was absolutely nothing. Sasuke would be embarrassed right now, looking to Naruto, asking him what the heck that was all about, as he would be tied up to a post and Naruto would just be sitting there eating. Eventually Sakura would also be tied up to a post and Naruto would just be looking at the both of them, saying that next time the two of them should just try harder, because clearly what they were doing, it was just not enough. And Sasuke would just look at Naruto with an angry look before telling him that he's just a weakling, as Naruto would go up to Sasuke, grabbing him by the face, squishing his cheeks, as he would then just go on to say, "And who's the one tied up to the stump?" As Sasuke looks at him in the eyes with an angry look in his face, but Naruto looks back at his, and Sasuke just feels a different Naruto. It was almost like the one that he saw just a couple of days ago was completely different than whoever was standing in front of him. And Sasuke just knew that if he picked his words incorrectly, he would probably die right there and then, with Naruto saying, "Got nothing to say." That's what I thought. As eventually he would sit back down and look to Sakura, who would go on to say, "Naruto, why would you do that to Sasuke? Sasuke only didn't beat you up because he was tied up to that post. Yeah, if not for that, he would have clearly beat you up." And Naruto just looks at Sakura before saying, yeah, sure he would, going on to eat the last bite of the food, as Kakashi finally would go up to the team and say, You failed." Right after hearing this, Naruto would just start smirking as he would say, "You heard that, Sasuke? You failed. Rookie of the Year. Guess that title doesn't really mean anything after all." And so Kakashi would turn to Naruto, saying that that means that he failed too. He doesn't understand what's going on here, but Naruto turns to Kakashi and would just be like, "What do you mean I failed? I took the bells from you. I'm almost as strong as you are, and you're gonna say that I failed? You gotta be kidding me, Kakashi. If I can't become a Genin, then you shouldn't be a Jonin. Because there's no way that somebody like you, who supposedly is so powerful, should be getting stalemated by a Genin." Looking towards Kakashi with just this look of like, "You better take back what you just said," as Kakashi would turn to Naruto and say that just because he's powerful doesn't mean that he'll work well in a team. Naruto would look at him, asking him what the heck he's talking about, and Kakashi would go on to explain that the truth is that Naruto doesn't work well in a team, and this is a team, and Naruto's gonna be on a team, so if he can't work well in one, then he can't be a ninja. But Naruto, hearing this, would turn to Kakashi before then saying, "Fine, then give our team one more chance. Let me prove that I can work well with them. Let me prove that I can make them better versions of themselves." And so Kakashi would go on to basically say that they'll have until noon, as from here Naruto goes on to turn towards the direction of Sakura and Sasuke, as he would untie them, and Sasuke would just look at Naruto, just glaring at him the whole time, as Naruto would say, "You got something to say, Sasuke? Because if not, I'm trying to get this test over with." But as Naruto would say this, Sakura would come in, trying to pretty much just tell Naruto that he can't speak to Sasuke like that. But Naruto would just completely ignore her, telling Sasuke that the plan is that Naruto's gonna be a diversion. Sasuke's gonna have to come in and grab the bells, using whatever jutsu he has available. And Sakura, well, she can just stand there and try to look pretty, As from here, he would go on to say, "Come on, team." And Sakura would be like, "Yeah, look pretty," before she realizes what Naruto really said and would be like, "Wait, what do you mean by that, Naruto?" But before she could even finish that sentence, they would finally find Kakashi once more, rushing in towards his direction and trying to work together as a team. But one thing would be made apparently clear: they don't exactly work too well, especially not Sasuke with Naruto, who up to this point has thought of Naruto as nothing more than a loser, and now was suddenly realizing that this kid who he's looked down upon his whole life is pretty much stronger than him, and Sasuke's god complex just couldn't take it. So he pretty much got in the way of Naruto whenever and wherever he could, and this would basically lead to them having a much harder time to defeat Kakashi than they would even have without all of these problems. So eventually they end up getting practically no bells, and Naruto would get so frustrated that he dang near almost snaps on Sasuke, but he would manage to keep his cool, and after a couple of minutes would pass, Kakashi would go on to say that while they didn't get the bells, they did display teamwork, and that's what he was looking for. So he guesses that they pass. And after hearing this, Sasuke, Sakura, and even Naruto would go on to let out a sigh of relief, thinking to themselves that it's a miracle that they passed. But Kakashi would go on to say that they barely passed, and for the next couple of weeks they're gonna have to learn to work together as a team. So they would go on all sorts of Dean Rank missions, eventually being assigned the Tazuna mission, protecting the bridge builder and taking him back to the land of the waves. They would do so, and on their way there, they would actually end up encountering the Demon Brothers. Both of them would rush Kakashi, seemingly killing him, but in the midst of that, Naruto would actually rush at both brothers, grabbing them each by the faces and slamming their heads into the ground, as both of them would instantly get knocked out, and Kakashi would finally end up revealing that he was there the whole time. Now, I know that might seem like, yo, what's up with that? Like, Naruto can barely fight Kakashi, but he's able to absolutely solo these guys. Well, yeah, if you guys don't remember, in the original story, Kakashi was able to body these guys like it was nothing. So Naruto being able to do this, it adds up, to say the least. Eventually, they continue their travels, and after a bit more time would pass, they finally would end up encountering a thick mist, and this would symbolize to them that a certain somebody was there, or more specifically to Naruto, that somebody strong was heading their way. And the second that Naruto would hear a sword cutting through the air coming flying at them, Naruto would quickly dodge before looking up only to see Zabuza Momochi.